Hi there, today we are doing a fundamentals class. It is very easygoing and flowy. Don't worry too much about your form today. I will give out some cues to help you with your form. But today is about going through the movements just to see if we could get through as many fundamental movements through the next 45 minutes. Have fun. Hello. Before you start, attach your straps onto your reformer. So there's this little hook right here that you can attach to them, and then you can hang it onto your peg. Once your straps are attached, have your headrest up. To lower it, there's a piece of wood that you can pull out and then it lowers and you lift it, push it under, that will keep it lifted. That is your starting position. You want your foot bar to be in the middle position to start with. The foot bar has little clips that glide in, so go ahead and glide them in. Then you pull the foot bar out gently as you also lift. When we put it down, this bar will come forward. There's these little black rubber spots that hold that, and then the rest of the foot bar just goes over. You want to have your foot bar set for your height and also the straps. If you don't know how to do that, please reach out to me and let me know. And then to start with, we want to start with 4 springs. You will start with everything but the center spring. If that does feel heavy when you are doing your footwork and it feels like it's pushing your shoulders against the shoulder blocks, drop the green spring. I will remind you. Okay, so to put the foot bar up, you just lift the actual foot bar. If you don't grab onto it, it's just going to drop. That's fine. And then put it back into the middle position. So let's go ahead and start with class. You will start with your 4 springs except the center. Again, the foot bar's in the middle position and the headrest is up. So going onto your reformer, you want your shoulders to touch the shoulder blocks, open wide, hands long to the side. Your feet in a Pilates V, heels together, toes apart. The toes are about a fist width apart. And then reach your nose for the ceiling so that you have space for your throat. For your footwork in the Pilates V, you'll engage the muscles through the outside of the glutes. Once you feel this connection, then you press out with an inhale, and then you come back in with an exhale. For the first few, your body will adjust on the reformer, so if you do press a little bit against the shoulder blocks, that's typically normal, you're just adjusting. After 3, however, if you keep noticing that you're pushing against the shoulder blocks and it's uncomfortable, do switch your springs and take off a green. If not, you continue, hands firmly pressing into the mat so that your upper back is connected. Pressing out as you inhale, exhaling to come back in. Find the glute engagement to press away, find it even more here, and then control in. I want you to keep the heels at the same height the entire time. And once more. So now we're going to go to arches. For arches, you're going to be in the middle of the foot. And both feet will be parallel. Let's keep the feet together and the knees together for today. Wrap your toes over and your heels under as much as possible like a bird. And then press out as you breathe in, the toes and the heels reach. And then continue reaching as you control back in. Keep the sacrum heavy. And then come back in. Good. 4. The arms continue to press into the mat to stay connected to your back. And if you ever catch yourself maybe looking at the screen a little bit too much and you've tucked your chin in, you can take your nose back to the ceiling, and whenever you need to, you can just gaze down and then back up. Good. Try a couple more. From here, let's go to the heels. You can take off 1 foot at a time, find the entire heel, that's the section of the foot, and press it on there. Before the carriage presses out, see if you can find the entire connection on the outside, inside, the middle of the heel, and keep it like that to press into it and go away. and then you'll come back in. You can sync your breath. Inhale, press out, engage through the glutes. Exhale, pull back in, drawing the lower abdomen in for practice. Good. For this one, you want to keep your feet and your knees the same distance. Your toes pulling back towards you, the ball of the foot pulling back towards you, like you're standing on a wall. Again, the arms are heavy, so your upper back is engaged, helping you stay connected. One more time. Once you come in, switch back down to the ball of the foot, which is this section right below the toes. That's where your Pilates V is at as well. And let's go ahead and go to a Pilates V. We're going to do your tendon stretch in a Pilates V and feet parallel for today. So again, hands heavy into the mat, shoulders wide, nose for the ceiling. Press out to straight legs, hold, lower the heels under the bar, lift the heels back up. Again, lower the heels under and lift back up. We're going to continue for about 3 more. When you lower the heels, keep the knees soft. As you lift the heels, keep the knees soft. 2 more. And if you're feeling like you're dropping down, just think about lowering rather than dropping. Take the feet parallel, knees are still soft. Lower the heels, lift the heels. Try and keep the weight even throughout the ball of the foot, with the pinky toes reaching for the bar. Good. Try about 3 more. 2. And 1 more. Good. Bending the knees to come back in. Now, you might have felt that through your glutes and the back of the legs. If you did, great. We are going to learn the last part of footwork at the end of class, but we're going to go over it first. You'll press back out to straight legs, and just like tendon stretch where you lower, lift the heels, you'll continue that pattern by alternating ankles, which makes it into running. So this is running. This comes at the end of class again. It's a nice one to try out at the beginning to see how your body is feeling. It's easier to tell what's going on one leg at a time when you lower. However, as you lower, it's not a drop. You don't pluck your knee out. You're pushing the heel away, and then you're lifting it up. You continue lifting it as the other one lowers and pushes away. And then they both stay active the entire time. A couple more times like this. And then bend both knees to come back in. Pelvic lift is another one that comes at the end of class. We are going to learn it right now. You're going to go back to the arches right in the middle of the foot. And then you go right on the outside of the bar with slight external rotation. Firmly pressing into the mat, you're going to squeeze through the glutes enough so that you can lift your hips up just about 2 inches. And always make a fist, kind of glide it under and away. Should be able to just reach underneath. From here, press out with an inhale without lifting any higher. And as you exhale, continue to keep the hips lifted at the same height and closing back in. So this is your pelvic tilt, pelvic lift, technically. Try 2 more. And 1 more. Good. Then lower the hips back down. That one's the great one to warm up with for your lower abdomen, but it does come at the end of class to remind you about your lower abdomen. So to come up, what you are going to do now is if you can take your legs over the bar, hands up to the ceiling. You take an inhale to engage through your body, and your exhale brings you up. Now if you're like, I'm not going to do that today, that's okay. Sit up however you need to. Once you sit, switch your springs, taking off the red and the green so that you have 1 blue and 1 red. I like them on opposite sides. I think it feels nice. From here, go back down. You can lie down however you need to, or You can come back to that T-serve position and lower yourself back down. From here, grab onto your straps. Ooh, my straps are really long. Remember when I said to make sure that wasn't happening? Let's go over that real quick right now. So, once you hang up your straps, you want to take your straps over the shoulder blocks, whichever strap you use for your hands, if it's a double loop. And then you're going to reach the extra piece of rope that hangs at the bottom, push into the reformer on the shoulder block, and then give it a pull. The push is so that you don't accidentally pull this and the springs give you slack. So once you do that, then do it again on the other side. You can then measure the straps to make sure that they are even. If not, you can fix it on there. But now the straps are the correct length for your body. You always want to check the straps after checking your spring load first. Not spring load, sorry. What's that called?
Adjuster. The thing that determines your height. What is that called? Anyway, from here,
we're going to start by taking the hands into the loops and then pulling one knee into the chest followed by the other one. I'm going to lower the arms down for the hips, open through the shoulders, and then lift back up. Then we try that again, lowering down and lifting back up. You can keep the knees tucked into your chest, or if you're comfortable with it, you could take them up to a tabletop. You don't have to, but you could. Good. Then at the top, let's keep tension of the straps to open the arms and lift back up. And again, open the arms, see if you can keep the carriage steady and lift back up. On the next one, lower the hands now down towards the hips and back up to the ceiling. Here's your arm circles. Let's do 2 more. And then 1 more. At the top of the circles, we'll switch and reverse. Reaching down, switch and reverse. Okay. Then, once you reach the bottom, keep the hands down. The elbows are going to stay touching, bend, and back down to the mat. Bend the elbows, hands up, and back down. 1 more time. Now your hands can be palms open or they can also be closed. That's up to you. Then you're going to close the carriage completely. Your feet will touch the bar. You're going to use the bar to press away to straight legs. Pull 1 knee into your chest. Place that foot into the strap. Put some pressure into the strap until you find balance and you can pull the other knee in. Stay in place. Put the other foot into the strap. Then straighten out. Start lowering and lifting. Softening through the knees. When you lower, find your sacrum heavy into the mat. Keep it like that. If needed, you can take your hands to your hip bones. Shoulders wide. And then letting the feet go back up, keeping the sacrum heavy into the mat. If you catch yourself flattening your back, you're doing this, which is going to make you then pull from your back. But if you keep your sacrum heavy as you go up, then you can stay connected to the glutes a little bit more and use the hamstring glute connection to help you lower, then you really engage the glutes, and then you lift back up. Purposely use the back of the leg to help you lower and lift back up. If your hips feel even, the arms can go along to the side, firmly pressing into the mat. Nose for the ceiling. Let's try a couple more like this. And the sacrum's heavy the entire time. The shoulders are open. Then at the top, you'll start going into leg circles, which kind of look like rectangles where you separate about shoulder width, down, together, and up. You can start to round off the corners to that. Good. Separating evenly from center line. And now that you know the pattern to this movement, focus on the sacrum staying heavy into the mat as you're going through it, and allowing the movement to come from the hip joint, letting the femur roll in the hip socket. And then reversing those. So you'll reach down through center, separate, lift, and together. Arms stay firmly pressing into the mat. Long ears. I want to say happy ears. Happy ears. 3 more times like this. Again, sacrum heavy. If at any point you need to take your hands back on the hips to help you recognize if you're staying steady, you can do that. Then we're going to go to frogs. So lower down to about anywhere from a 30 to a 45 degree angle. Turn it out, pull the knees in towards you, heels together, press away. Again, the sacrum will stay heavy as you pull the knees in so that you can feel the back of the leg push away. If you let the sacrum pull off the mat and your back flatten, it's a really nice stretch, and we can do this in a second, but let's wait for a little bit later. So keep the sacrum heavy so that you can keep that connection instead of going into this stretch and having to pull from maybe areas that aren't ready yet because they're not warm yet. So just keep the sacrum heavy. We'll get the stretch a little bit later. Good. As you keep the sacrum heavy, you might start to notice that the lower abdomen likes to say hello, like, hey, I have to work to do this, which is kind of cool because it's your lower abs working and all you're doing is pressing out and back in. I think that's fun. Good, 3 more times. 2. And 1 more. Okay, pull the knees in. Now you can do a stretch. Let your back flatten as you're pulling your knees in, and take a few breaths here. You're gonna keep the feet together, take the knees out until the soles of the feet meet and you're in your butterfly stretch. This ideally feels really nice. If you're like, no it doesn't, you can always come out of it. From here, keeping the knees out to the side, let's take the left hand to the left knee, try and keep it in place, and then you can straighten the right leg out to the side for a stretch. Taking a few breaths here, breathing into the side and the back of the rib cage. And as you exhale, reach through the toes, the right toes, and try and turn that knee out a little bit more. Couple more breaths here. Then pulling that leg in. Right hand to the right knee. You can actually keep this hand there if you want for stability. Left leg goes out. That's always an option for something that you can do if it just feels like your leg's too heavy to be out there. Point through that foot, try and turn out. Your breath makes you heavy onto the mat. The exhale helps you find a little bit more turnout. Then you pull the leg back in. You're back in your butterfly stretch. Lift your feet up so that your legs create a diamond-like shape, and then pull towards you, letting your sits bones go towards the ceiling. Those are your butt bones. So that you feel your low back get a little bit of a stretch. From here, you can now take your feet out of the straps, and then placing your hands back into the straps. Knees close into you. We're going to practice hundreds. So, arms to the ceiling. Let's first start curling up to lower the arms, and then lifting back up. Let's do 5 more like that. Reach through the knuckles, and then back up. I always forget numbers. Two more times. So now when we curl up, we're gonna stay up and we're gonna do hundreds with the knees pulled in first. So inhale, prep yourself. Exhale, curl up. Humping the arms, breathe in. And then exhale. Legs to tabletop, breathe in. And then exhale. You can continue here with the legs. Your head can go down at any point if you need to. Now you can lengthen the legs, breathe in. And breathe out. Let's do 3 more, breathe in. And breathe out. 2. And 1 more. Then you can pull your knees in, head down, arms up, good job. Hundreds are hard, but we did about 7, so hopefully next time you'll do a few more. Legs over the bar, hands up to the ceiling, inhaling into the side and the back of the rib cage. Exhale to lift you up. Good. From here, let's switch our springs. Let's switch our springs for our pulling straps 1 and 2. For pulling straps 1 and 2, we're going to start with 1 red spring. Ideally, I would like you to pick the red center spring. You will lower down your foot bar. To lower down your foot bar, there are these little black clips in the center. You want to push both of them in. Go ahead and push them in. Then you're going to pull the foot bar towards you if you're sitting like me. Be careful, that is going to slide, so just be careful. As you pull the foot bar towards you and this slides out, you can lift it and put it on those little like wooden rubber squares, and then the foot bar will lower down. Now your foot bar is set. Your headrest has a little piece of wood underneath that when you lift the headrest up, you can pull out that little piece of wood. Then that flattens the headrest. We're going to keep it like that for pulling straps 1 and 2. Grab onto your box. The box will go on here along with. Now, the movement, if we practice it standing, you take your arms straight out to the side, pinkies to the ground, thumbs to the ceiling. Reach out through them, let your chest lift for the ceiling. You can even look up a little bit. The pinkies will reach back behind you, palms facing forward. This is the movement that you want to feel. And then your elbows, and then your thumbs reach back up for the ceiling. Again, reaching back, pinkies back behind you, and then back up to the ceiling. Couple more times. Pinkies will reach back behind you, and thumbs up to the ceiling. Last one. So that's pulling straps number 2. Number 1, bring your arms out in front. They are facing each other. Same type of thing. First, open your shoulders wide. So there's this thing behind me. It's like I'm trying to wrap my shoulders around it. And then the arms would open out to the side like I wrap my shoulders around that bar. And then the arms come forward. No, that's not it. That's a different exercise. So, once the hands come out in front and you wrap your shoulder blades around, the pinkies will reach down and they'll technically push back and then forward. So again, it's pinkies back and thumbs to the ceiling. Pinkies to the back wall and then up to the ceiling. As the pinkies go to the back wall, lift your chest, look up for the ceiling, and then look out in front of you. That's the full movement. You're going to lift through the chest, look out in front as your hands reach back. Good. 1 more time. And now we're going to practice that on the box. So, with your 1 red spring at the center, I want you to line up your shoulders with your shoulder blocks. For me, that puts me pretty much hips in the center, which is pretty nice because it gives me a lot of support. If you're taller than me and your hips are like over here, just squeeze your butt the entire time to help you support the weight of the legs. I can show you what that looks like. So, you line up your shoulders here. But if you happen to have long legs and are hanging, make sure the glutes stay engaged so that you stay lengthened throughout, unless I ask for melting over. But if you're short like me, this is way easier. Once you are here, take the hands up to the top of your handles, right where the hardware starts. And your hands will be reaching down like you're punching down towards the ground. Connect your heels, engage the glutes. Let's let the head hang. And as the hands reach in alignment right under the shoulders, you lift to neutral, draw the abdomen in, to reach the hands back behind you, you look out in front, and then everything lowers back down as the arms come forward. We do the same thing. We lift, look forward, and back down. Practicing this for 6 times total, looking out in front, using your upper back to help you lift the arms back behind you. Ideally, you don't hit the carriage down like I just did. And once more. Then you're going to keep the arms there, open the arms out to the side, reach back towards the hips, lift the chest, and back down. Let's practice that 4 more times. Reaching up and back down. Good, again. Reaching the ears for the ceiling as the hands reach back, while pulling the sternum forward. Then you can hang up your straps. Coming off however you need to. That's pulling straps 1 and 2. Go ahead and switch your box over to a short box. For short box, it can be in front of the shoulder blocks or between the shoulder blocks and the silver pegs. I'm short, so I go in front. I want you to grab onto your fuzzy strap down here. There it is. Also, attach all of your springs. Set. Feet about hip width. Engage the glutes to sit nice and tall. Give yourself a little bit of a hug, nice long neck. Look for your toes. Reach through the heels, round back with an inhale. Exhale, come forward. Keep it small. Imagine your spine being like a really tall C-curve shape that is trying to become as long as possible while maintaining the shape. That is your flexion in your spine. You draw the abs in to get the low back to pull back into that flexion. Ears for the ceiling. We just go back and forth a few times. Good. Then we're going to take one hand on top of the other one, draw the abs in, squeeze the glutes, sit taller. From here, tilt back from the hips, and then tilt forward. Tilt back like a laptop being pushed open, and then being pulled back up tall. If you feel like you're arching, you probably are. Don't do that. To prevent that, look for your toes as you go back, and only go as far back as you can stay looking at your toes. Push through the feet. That will help you lengthen yourself back. It will help you feel your inner thighs work. Like your ears get pulled for the ceiling behind you where the ceiling meets the wall. Like your arms are pushing you out of a pool the entire time. One more time. Good. From here, you're going to take your hands behind your head And you're gonna lift the left elbow up to the ceiling, and then back down to center. And then the right elbow up to the ceiling. Left elbow up to the ceiling. Right elbow up to the ceiling. Left. Right. Good. And as you lift your left elbow one more time, imagine like there's something right here under your right elbow, and you're pushing down, but not past it. You're pushing down on it and lifting over to the other side. Back to center, same thing on the other side. So it's like you're lifting up and over, and up and over. One more to each side. Good. We are going to twist our body, and then back to center. Twist the other way, and back to center. Sit tall, try and twist tall. Stay tall, untwist, twist the other way. Keeping the hips anchored down and the feet pulling apart on that strap. Couple more times. Last one. Let's take out the right leg. We're gonna grab both hands behind that knee. Foot is flexed, shoulders wide. Straighten and bend, and straighten and bend. Again. Your foot can be pointed or it can be relaxed, whatever feels good to you today. If you feel like you're collapsing, come on out of it. Lift nice and tall. Then let's keep the leg reaching out to point and flex the foot. And stay holding onto the foot. Bottom one is flexed. Push through the bottom leg, start to go back with an inhale. And then exhale back up. And again, you'll go back. This is called tree. Well, not this part. This is the prep. And again. And then you can continue doing this one. Or if you want to know what tree starts to feel like, as you go back, you keep your arms connected to your back. You scoop back more through the spine. And then you pull yourself back up nice and tall. And we would practice that about 3 times, which you can if you feel comfortable with it today. If not, just tilt back and forth. Then this foot is going to, then you're going to bring this foot over the opposite leg so that you bend this knee. I'll say this foot is going to bend, but that didn't make sense. Grab onto the straps, sit tall, draw the abdomen in, and you'll round forward for a figure 4 stretch. And just keep it relaxed for now, nothing too intense, just seeing how the body feels here. We'll come back up. This time, squeeze the glutes, lift tall out of the sits bones, draw the abs in more, and imagine like you're peeling up away from a wall, staying tall out of the sits bones, and only go as far forward as that allows you. Then we'll switch sides. So, leg switch with the strap. Make sure both hips are even. We'll do hands behind the knees today, shoulders back and wide. Straightening and bending through this leg. Keeping the leg straight, and then pointing and flexing the foot. We'll start tilting back and coming forward. Bottom foot will stay flexed so that you can tilt back comfortably. And forward. Again, tilting back. And forward. 3 more. 2. And you can continue doing that, or if you'd like, you can walk down for tree. And walk yourself back up. And you're just practicing the movement for today. And once more, trying to keep your arms connected to your back. Good. Bending the knee, placing the foot over the opposite leg, and then just rounding your body forward to where it feels comfortable. Coming back up, engage through the glutes, sit really tall, peel off an imaginary wall, staying tall out of the sits bones. And then back onto your wall. Good. You can step off the reformer and put your box away now. When you're bringing your foot bar up, this time go ahead and place it on the tall position. So, all the way to the top one. And then put the little knobs out so that the foot bar is taller than before. And then you will switch your spring so that you just have the blue and the red. Once you have the blue and the red spring, you'll be standing, your foot will line up with the front of the reformer, right in this wooden part of the block. And then the other foot is going to be against the shoulder block behind you like you're standing on it. Hands can be on this foot bar to help you stabilize. We're going to start pressing back through that back leg just so that this knee starts to bend and it stays over the ankle. And then we come up again. And then we go back. And then we come up. And again we go back. And we come up. And we're going to do that a few more times where we just lower and lift into that front leg. Good. And that front leg is going to stay straight for you to go back and come forward. Have the glute engaged to help you stay stable through the entire foot. And forward. 3, 2, 1 more, because that one wasn't very good. Good. And then switching sides. Mine wasn't very good. Yours could have been amazing, but you know. To switch sides, you may walk around or you may do whatever it is that I'm doing. Lining up the left foot against the reformer, or up against the reformer. Other leg, up against the shoulder block. Looking straight out in front, trying to keep your hips turned forward. 2, bend into the front knee and go back. And then come forward. And you're just working on going as far back as you can stay stable. If that's an inch, that's an inch. If that's a lot, it's a lot. Whatever works for you today. Couple more times. Keeping all of your toes down. And then straightening the front leg to go back with a straight leg and come forward. And keeping the outside of the glute engaged. Hips squirt forward. Three more times. But I did an extra one on the other side, so 3 more times. 2. Oops, I did it again. I bent my knee, so make sure you just do about 5 to 6. Good. And then you can come on out of there. And now switching to the middle position with the foot bar. So you pull the little black pieces in, pull it out, push it in, black pieces back to lock. And we're gonna add all of the footwork that you started with. So if you did your 4 springs, go back to your 4 springs. If you did 3, do 3. From here, onto your back. And lift your headrest up. You want to find the same position for footwork that you had, which is about fist width apart with the toes, heels together. Let's press out to straight legs and come back in. Separate the heels so that the feet are parallel. Find the entire ball of the foot on the foot bar. Press out to straight legs, lower one heel at the other knee lift, and then switch. And switch. So you're doing your running again. You want to try and keep the weight even throughout the ball of the foot on both feet at all times. When the heel lowers, the foot stays working. It's not just a drop where you stretch into it. You're working, like you're pushing away and then you're pulling back up. Good. And then evening out both sides. Both knees will bend to come back in. We're gonna do our pelvic lift. We already did this at the beginning. You're gonna go onto the arches on the very corner, slightly turned out. Engage the glutes to slightly lift the hips about 2 inches. Your inhale takes you out. Your exhale pulls you in. Again, your inhale takes you out. The exhale pulls you in. Staying at the same height. Good. 3 more times. 2. And once more. And then lowering the hips. Once your hips are down, keep your feet where they're at. Take your hands to the silver poles. Elbows wide, let the knees drop over to one side. You get a little tiny stretch here through your hips. Take a breath. And then you exhale. Take an inhale to prep. Your exhale pulls you to center. The knees can go over to the other side. And again, taking a couple of breaths here. Your inhale preps you. And your exhale brings you back to center. Legs over the bar. Hands up to the ceiling. Take a breath in. Your exhale is going to sit you up nice and tall. Or you're going to bring yourself up however you need to. And then we're going to stand up. Bend your knees for a second. Switch to one spring only. Let's do the red center spring. Red center spring. Soft knees. Hands are going to go to the end of the reformer. You want to pull yourself away from the foot bar, and your arms will press out and pull back in. And again, the arms press out and pull back in. And this is technically like your reverse elephant. And it's a great way to start stability through the shoulders and also get a back stretch. Couple more times, pressing out and back in. And one more. Closing completely. If you can, everything stays engaged. You stack up your spine, lower the arms, and then you're all done. Good job. Thanks for taking class today. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to clean your equipment, spray your equipment, and then wipe that down. I'll see you next time.